all your PVC rig building fans out there. This is about my 5th video in the series. It's turning into be a bit of a mini blog rather than just a one or two off how to build. I made this final video, whatever. This video to show my latest major changes to the whole thing. I've made some pretty radical but significant changes, and the departure from my inverted pedal setup. In basic summary, I would not recommend doing the inverted setup, and I'll go through all the reasons why. But just to show, this is my new modified rig. I'll take it out and get a better view for you of what it looks like. But what we've got, the main change is a different wheel, CSR wheel. My previous videos I had a CSW, the Club Sport wheel with the big BMW logo. You'd say, of course, this is a downgrade, which technically it is. The CSW was simply on loan from my dad. I was just getting it ready for him and having a blast, while my actual wheel was getting repaired, well, actually getting replaced under warranty. This wheel, the force feedback motor in the corner, had blown, and the wheel felt very notchy, didn't have much force. It was unusable. You couldn't feel the force feedback properly, and you couldn't get a real good race. Fanatec were great. They replaced the whole wheel for me, sent it to me maybe it took about 5-6 weeks overall though. But that was only because the Australian store wasn't quite ready yet. This new wheel, no problems. Only thing I will note though is, if you have this wheel, I'm pretty sure that my wheel died because of because the F1 2012 force feedback was too high. I would recommend running at about 80% force feedback in game, not on the wheel. Change it in game. If you feel the heat coming from the back corner more than warm, you're running it too high. It wheel can't take it, and don't risk your investment. Yeah. So other changes I've made besides the major pedal change, which I'll show you in a second. Minor things. I put a different gear knob on the Fanatec wheel, on the Fanatec gearbox, and I raised it up about 20 mils to give it a better feel, better throw, and it's actually quite nice. And a little bit of aesthetic treatment with the gear boot. And yeah. So let's go on to the second part, the pedals. Okay, so here's the rig as it stands today. Disregard that string. I bet you're wondering what that's for. I'll show you in a moment. So the major changes I should say, it's a one-man job today, is I have remounted the pedals in their factory mount. They were hanging from this bar. I had a second bar down there, which is cut off now, a little stump, and they were inverted, and they were a lot lower. They were about 15 centimeters lower, about down here, so your foot was a lot lower. So I've switched them back to the factory mount. Why? The reason is simply that I could not get the throw of the accelerator right. It was just you'd end up with your pedal. You start about here and end up about there, and it was very unnatural for your ankle to travel that way. It was never going to work, and I just got really sick of it. Second thing was, having the pedals so low, it made your driving position very truck-like. So if you're in a forward drive, a 4x4, your legs are hanging quite low, so rather than being elevated quite high, you're sitting above your pedals, which is not a racy simulated position. I just did not enjoy that at all. I watched this great video called on YouTube the anatomy of a driving simulator, that it shows all these different positions, and he's worked out the degrees of sitting, and where what angle your calf will be sitting at and things, and it just shows you like what you want to achieve. This is more like a BMW, I would think, more like a very much street car, almost into a Formula Ford, which is like, you know, your very basic racing car series, like your Skip Barber in America, I think they're called. Basically, where your ankle is almost at height with your seat, so they're almost, maybe it's a little bit lower, but not by much, maybe only a few centimeters by where your bum is sitting. In fact, it's probably at the same height as your bum, and that instantly more racy, had a much better feel, and suddenly I wasn't constantly adjusting my seating position. I knew it was right because I didn't have to keep changing my seat every second race. So to achieve the pedals, to get the mount in the position they are, I kept this bar, but if you're changing it from the original Mark 1 plans, the simulator plans, you would, instead of having this bar here, which is originally the same as that but down the bottom, just move it up like it is, change this to an elbow, that need to be a T, and at the front, it's quite simple, it's just 2 T's and then a stump. It's just a piece of pipe, colour for an angle, and then it's got just really basic 2 90-degree brackets on each side. And I've also, for those keen, I've also raised the pedal plate, so it was sitting quite low, so your ankle, your heel would slip off a bit, and I've raised that up maybe, I don't know, an inch or so, just with a basic little block. Nothing too technical about that. Other things to make this work is get these hanging brackets. These are an exhaust hanging bracket. So your exhaust on your car, your muffler, will hang from these real simple, I think this is, I don't know if this is nickel plated or something, and it just has this big clamp. Am I showing that right? I might not be showing that right, sorry. Yeah, a clamp with a horseshoe type bracket, and they're like $3 or $4 from a bolt shop or a muffler shop, whatever you want to go to. So 2 of those. Other minor addition I made, which actually I think is quite an important addition. Sorry, get in there. Sorry for the terrible camera work. There's an iPhone though, can't really say much about that. Is this dead pedal for your pedal rest, for your footrest, and it is really necessary. Long race, I really recommend making one out of anything you like. That's just made out of 2 pieces of angle aluminium. Simple. Also, to achieve this, I also moved the wheel back. The wheel was sitting about here, and I moved it back maybe 20 centimeters or so. This is a piece of polyethylene molded plastic, I don't know. It's some industrial piece my friend got, who's an engineer. But anyway, just use a solid piece of MDF or something rigid, of course, to achieve it. There is some movement, tiny bit, but you never notice it. It is so minor. So yeah, as I said, the wheel still feels really rigid, and I felt that getting the wheel away from the crossbar was really important because I felt very constricted, and I was very encumbered by all the bars and everything too close. When the wheel was up here, there was no leg room, and I felt very confined. It wasn't very comfortable. So bring it all back, give yourself some space to stretch out. Looks a lot nicer. The last thing you'll see, you're probably wondering why the string is. If you've ever done anything with the suspension in an old car, you know this is a sort of trick they do. Simply, we've got the string hanging down, with the washer marked, and I'm just trying to find my center line. My center line of my wheel versus the center line of the seat, and because I wanted to get everything lined up. I found a bit of difficulty, so I measured the seat width, and then I measured it relatively to my sternum, to my chest, and how I felt, what my true center was, mark those accordingly. Then you got the wheel, and so I figured it out. And another way, when you are looking to mount your wheel, is to cover the wheel and the base you're doing with masking tape. Then you can mark the wheel. You mark where the holes are. Mark where the holes are on each side, and then you can just sort of line those markings up and draw on the masking tape on the base. And that's probably, I don't know, the best way I know of doing it. It's really about relative to you to feel, rather than actually doing it by geometry or measurements and things. And yeah, so what else can I say about all this? Not much. Pretty happy with it. I will endeavour to make my own sort of annotated picture or a plan, just basically showing how these pedals are located. I really feel that this is a definite setup, and I recommend this design over simulators. Sorry, simulator. But his is just, unless your seat's really low, unless you get your seat down lower, which you can do, fine, you'll find that you're probably still a bit high. So raise your pedals up. In fact, even an F1's, not F1, but a pedal where your ankle is above your bum, I think would be even more comfortable, because this one is like, when you're not driving, if you're just using it as a sit-down seat, you put your feet up on your footrest, and it's like you got your feet up on an ottoman. It's just a lot more comfortable. And you translate to a race, it's just your feet are in a constant, comfortable position, which is dynamite. So yeah, there we go. Hope you enjoyed it. Feel free to hit me up for any feedback. I'm also on the Inside Sim forum under Hugo Like a Boss. So yeah, catch you soon.